The movie The Blind Side has received 2 major Oscar nominations, and it's made more than $240 million at the box office. In the movie, Tim McGraw plays Sean Tuohy, a man who agrees to take a homeless teenager into his family.
Okay, big smile. Tuohy family.
Was this a bad idea?
What's the big deal? It's just for one night. It is just for one night, right?
Moviegoers might recognize his name from the big screen. Sean Tuohy opened his home and his family to Michael Orr, a teenager from the projects who later became a first-round draft pick in the NFL. But before he was portrayed by Tim McGraw in the Oscar-nominated movie The Blind Side, Sean Tuohy had already left his mark. His success started early. He went to Ole Miss on a basketball scholarship and led the Rebels to their only conference championship. He was later drafted by the NBA's New Jersey Nets and now works as a broadcaster for the NBA's Memphis Grizzlies. But his success spans far beyond sports. He's an entrepreneur who has built a regular fast food empire of more than 70 restaurants, ranging from Taco Bell to Long John Silver's.
Well, please welcome to the 700 Club the father in that interesting story, Sean Tuohy. Sean, good to have you with us today.
Glad to be here.
Has that movie done anything to you, or has it done an awful lot to you?
It's got me in Norfolk, Virginia. I probably wouldn't have been here.
What else would you?
Yeah. Although it's 6 inches of snow in Memphis today, I'm glad I'm here. It's
How
so
much
pretty.
fame could you possibly ask for?
Well, it's been interesting, but it you know, the part that's been so nice, it just wasn't anticipated. So it's all a surprise. And everybody likes surprises.
Well, did Tim McGraw play you as you would have asked?
Well, I didn't have to ask. Tim's from Louisiana. Of course, I'm from Louisiana, cheering for the Saints last night. Although I went to the same high school as Peyton, so I was Peyton's camp counselor when he was 8. So I was a little divided last night.
Oh,
but
but
you had to cheer for the Saints. I was there in '68.
Well, is Peyton? I think of him as being from the Tennessee team.
He's from the Garden District of New Orleans.
Is he really?
Sure is.
So this was a New Orleans Super Bowl.
Yeah, we all went to Isidore Newman School. My dad was a basketball coach there. That's how it all came about for me. But you know, Tim was from Louisiana, and as he and I talked a little bit before the movie, we're both deathly afraid of our wives. So we're not really sure how much he acted or how much he just woke up in the morning and did what he's supposed to do. But he's a great guy.
Yes,
and what surprised me was how serious he took it. And I told him, I said, you know, what's going on here? He said, well, I'm not going to give up my day job. But, you know, I guess artists like to work and stretch. And this is it's his passion right now. He was excellent and really, really, really is a great, great guy. Yeah,
well, he is. And he's married to a very lovely lady. And
he's way over his head. In football terms, we've all outkicked our coverage.
You went to college scholarship. You were your father died. You were poor. And what did you do? You played a pretty good game of basketball.
Well, that was my ticket. You know, I'm sure there were a lot of people poorer than I was, but there were certainly a lot of people richer than I was. And that's how I went to school. And had a great time, went to the University of Mississippi and had some basketball success. But it really also allowed me to get away from home and kind of get independent, which is probably needed in my case.
Yeah.
And it worked out good. I had a great time my 4 years, and I married my wife, who was from Memphis at the time. And you know, again, when you marry over your head, you make decisions that, well, you don't make decisions. You just do what you're told.
She looks like she's a pretty take-charge lady.
Well, unfortunately, Sandra Bullock played her incredibly accurate. Incredibly accurate.
So who runs the family?
Yeah, it's not much to tell everybody I get 49% of the vote, and I voted all the time.
Well, whoever it was, you did a great job. Who was most influential to you? Well, let me ask you about this. But you're in the South, a lot of prejudice, racial prejudice, and here's this black kid, and you take him into your home, great big hulking black guy. I mean, did you feel concerned about that?
Well, no. You know, it may be of obvious proportions when you look at Michael. To us, it just didn't seem that important.
It didn't.
And you asked who was important in my life. It's probably the same answer for both those questions. My dad was just an incredible man, and he really And I didn't know it at the time because I was too young. But you still, as a kid, you grasp things by just being nurtured and natured. And he had no idea of color. It just didn't make any difference to him. And so I'm sure that's the way I grew up. I grew up in a basketball environment, so I was always the minority, if you want to really get to it.
Yeah.
And it just never seemed to be an interest to me, too. And so I'd like to think that that's something that I've either passed on or carried with me, but certainly it was something that my dad didn't instill in me. That's just the way he lived.
Yeah.
And so I either chose to live like him or not. And certainly...
You were swimming against the tide of the South in those days. He was.
I guess. You know, I had a great childhood. I mean, I keep trying to think back. I said, I've got to come up with a better story. I had to have been miserable at some point in time. And I can't find any where I was. You know, loving parents, great brothers. I got a brother older, brother younger, and an older sister, and we just had a ball.
Did Dale have the success in business you have? Or are you unique in that respect?
Well, it's an interesting venture. I found out... Even though I think I was very coachable, I don't know if my coaches would say that. Right. I found out real quickly after I got into the business world that I was a lot better chief than I was an Indian. And then I had to find some way to where, you know, it was my decision. Truth is, when I got into business, my whole goal was I didn't want to have to ask permission to watch my daughter's Easter play. I just didn't think...
What's that got to do with business?
Well, because the only way to have that is to have control of your hours of the day.
Okay.
And so I went backwards. I said, okay, how can I not have to ask permission to go to my daughter's Easter play? Well, I'll have to be the boss. And so I ventured around and found a business where I thought that would be the case. And
you're the only entrepreneur I've ever met who said it's because of my daughter's Easter
play. Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. That's exactly what drove me. And then when I got in it, I realized that this really was what I wanted to do. And bought an old beat-up, run-down Taco Bell in Meridian, Mississippi, but it sure did look pretty to me when I got it.
Sure.
And I remember a couple years into it, I was in the middle of the dumpster, you know, hosing it out, cleaning it for an inspection, and just going, you know, this may be dirt, but it's my dirt. And I kind of like it.
You rolled up your sleeves and got in it.
Loved it. I mean, it was just really, you know, I was a store manager for a year or two, and those were good times. Those were real good times. But it's grown now, and, you know, we're a dumb old business like the rest of the big old businesses.
Dumb old business, and just count your dividend checks. Any principles you'd like to share with the audience of things that you've learned over the...
Well, you know, it's a good question. And some people go, when they try to relate, you know, what happened in our lives with Michael, and they try to, of course, everybody tries to pigeonhole and okay, why'd this happen, or how did it happen? How did it have an effect on you? How did it affect on your family? And, you know, our family has always felt that we kind of live by the 2 Corinthians 9:7, which, you know, basically said, don't only give from your heart. Don't give out of necessity or you know, what you think you're forced into, because God only loves a cheerful giver. Yeah. And I think that's what made it so easy for Michael in our house, that you know, we were happy that he was there from the day one. So it was never a everybody says, was there an epiphany moment? Was there some big transition? And we were just so thankful that he was there, because it gave us an opportunity to give every day. And we do really believe that God really only loves a cheerful giver. And so with Michael, it was the best day of our lives when he came in. Now he's so independent, we don't see him anymore, and it kills us. But back then, it was one day after another of really cheerful giving. And, you know, much like Christmas, it's the best time of the year. It's not because you're getting presents.
But you give them.
But you're giving them.
What's your goal? You got anything down the road, or you?
Well, I tried to get back to Memphis. They had 6 inches of snow tonight, so I may not get back.
Well, don't go via Washington. It's another big one coming.
Michael's got a house in Baltimore, and he asked me the other day, he says, you know, you think it's still there? I said, well, I bet you can't get to the front door if it is, so I'm sure it is.
Well, Sean, it's so nice to have you with us.
Well, it's great to be here.
You're going to speak at the Regent University Speakers Forum, and I look forward to hearing you there.
Come on over. You got nothing to do. I hear you got a free pass.
Nothing to do. Got a free. They give me a free meal.
That's what I've heard.
Great to have you
Great.
with
Nice
us.
to
God
be here.
bless you.
Good.